All right, Emily, we're officially recording. So first of all, it's a pleasure to be with you guys right now. For those of you who don't know us, my name is John Tessitore, and we have Emily Meeks here with us, and we are with the JCK Foundation. And the JCK Foundation actually has pretty deep roots with their university at Colgate. And we're all about connection and community building when it comes to mental wellness, right? So I think what's really important right now during these really difficult times is that we try to stay connected and that we try to do our best to take care of our mental wellness, and not only our mental wellness, but the wellness of those around us, right? And obviously, being in college right now, I mean, I couldn't imagine it. It was unlike anything that I could have experienced, right? No one expected their senior year, their freshman year, their sophomore, or their junior year to be like this. But I've been talking to a lot of people. I've been having a lot of really powerful conversations with people and just trying to do what we can to make the most of the situation, especially for those who are suffering right now, letting you guys know, most importantly, that you aren't alone, and letting you know, really importantly, that we can get through this and that together we're a lot stronger and there's more resources than we think. And we could try to use this as an opportunity to grow the best way we can. So what we do as an organization is when there is no quarantine is we actually go into schools and we run our Legends program. And we ran a piece of that program with some of your community leaders back in the fall. And we were planning on doing a bigger thing in October, where we're actually on campus for a bit longer, doing workshops with you guys, with the students, and trying to do what we can to build as powerful of a community where people feel like they're welcome and feel like their stories really do matter, and connecting you with the really powerful resources that are on campus. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself. Then Emily's going to come on and talk about some resources that you guys already have here at Colgate. And then most importantly, we want to empower you. We want you to feel like you have an outlet to talk about stress management, and an outlet to talk about friendship, an outlet to really feel like yourselves and make a difference during this time of need, so to speak. And again, it's an honor to be here, and I'm just going to dive right into it. So long story short, my name's John Tessitore, and I'll never forget, I was diagnosed with OCD in the 7th grade. I was on a family vacation, and I couldn't stop saying my nightly prayers. So I'll never forget, there was one night where, I'm on this vacation, and all of a sudden I keep thinking, oh my God, if I say this bad thought about my mom, she's going to be possessed by the devil, and it's my fault. And I remember that kind of drove me crazy. I was like, what the heck is this? Why am I having these thoughts? And, then, obviously I couldn't really sleep. All of a sudden, I got diagnosed with OCD when I got back home. And obviously, when you get that diagnosis, I personally was just saying to myself, well, this is just validation that I'm crazy. This isn't a good thing. It didn't make me feel good about myself. It actually made me feel more embarrassed and more ashamed. But then I had a very special friend by the name of John Kelly, who was my older brother Paul's best friend. And that's where the initials of the foundation, JCK, come from, because this foundation was started in his honor. And he came up to me and he goes, dude, I hear you have OCD. And I'm sitting there like, wait, what? Like, how do you know this? And he goes, dude, like our parents talk. And I was like, but why did my mom tell you this? And he goes, John, like, it's okay. I'm telling you this because I have OCD too. I want to let you know that you're going to be okay. And I've got your back. And I was like, wait, you have these thoughts about the devil? And he's like, dude, all the time. And I was like, no way. And he dapped me up, and I just felt really good about myself. And, that was the start of a really special bond, because for the first time, I really wasn't stigmatizing myself. And I really felt good about who I was. And I felt like I could live this happy and hopeful life even while suffering. Now, as time went on, I know we have some time constraints, so I'm going to make this a little bit quicker than it usually is. But I want you guys to hopefully get lost and reflect in this for your own stories, because I think it's important that all of us understand how much we matter. So as time went on, my OCD started to get better. I started to go to therapy. I started to use the resources around me. And obviously, I had John Kelly. So flash forward to when I was your guys' age. When I was in college, I actually had a really tough mental health crisis, right? Where, all of a sudden, my OCD came back in full force. And I thought to myself, oh my God, what if I'm suicidal? And I remember getting that thought stuck in my head was the scariest thing imaginable, because, that was the last thing I wanted. But OCD tries to latch on to the things that you love the most. So I'm sitting there in my dorm room, just not being able to get this suicidal ideation out of my head, because I felt like if I told anyone, people would think I was crazy. If I told my mom, I would scare her. If I told my dad, he'd be like, "What are you talking about?" And I felt like if I told my friends, people would want to say, "Oh my God, he's crazy. Let's put him in a psychiatric ward." And the sad part about this was the total opposite. I didn't realize how normal these thoughts actually were, and I didn't realize that I wasn't taking care of my anxiety. I wasn't taking care of my OCD. So I was just putting myself in a really, really, scary situation because I was isolating myself. And right now in these times, it's very easy to isolate ourselves because we're not able to see our friends. We're not able to see our family as much. And we're doing a lot of stuff by FaceTime and trying to connect the best way that we can. And I want to let everyone out there know who is suffering, we're with you. And something that was very special that happened. And, again, I'm going to flash forward a little bit, but you know, what ended up happening was I ended up kind of coming to a breaking point where I tried opening up to my parents about the OCD. And, my mom said, "John, it's okay. This is going to get better. We're going to work through this together." And my dad was like, "Oh God, the OCD again." I thought we cured this. I thought we could talk about this. I thought therapy, already helped you. I already paid for this. And, it was pretty hurtful, but, that next night was a really tough night. And, I ended up going back to school the next day and finding out that John had actually taken his own life. And this was a shock, not only to me, but to so many people in our community, because John had this unbelievable heart. He loved so many people. And I remember when I first heard this, I didn't even know what to think. My first reaction was there was no reaction. I looked down at my phone. I saw about 15 missed calls, 15 texts, my parents saying they're coming to get me. And, I was really shocked. And the first reaction was complete anger because, why would quote unquote God take John Kelly, this guy with this unbelievable heart that would do anything for anyone? And, John was the type of guy that went out of his way to make others feel good. He went out of his way to make people feel loved and valued. And that is, you can't put that into words how much that means to people and how much that means to society. And, my next reaction obviously was heartbreak. And I remember the next morning, I felt like I couldn't move. I didn't want to leave my mom's bedside because I was just laying there and she was there with me. And then what happened next was really, the next couple months were really hard. But I remember I went to therapy. I was pretty much forced into therapy that day. And my therapist said two things that stuck with me for the rest of my life that I hope can really stick with you guys. He goes, "John, I promise you're not suicidal. You're extremely anxious and you haven't been taking care of your OCD. You've actually been disassociating. And I want you to understand that you're just extremely anxious right now. And you're going to be able to get through this." And I was able to have those thoughts validated, right? And having those thoughts validated for me was really, really important. And I started realizing, okay, I'm not suicidal. I'm actually just anxious and I can take care of this. And he said, "John, I know you just went through a tragedy, but I'm always going to be here for you." And having that support and having that type of love really meant the world to me in this dark time. And that, that led to me having a little bit of empowerment during this really dark time. And I know you guys are all in a pretty tough time right now, but I think during that worst time in my life, I was able to use the people around me, use those resources, and I was motivated. And I ended up making this documentary about John. And John actually went to Colgate. He was a brilliant, brilliant guy. So obviously, you students have a special place in my heart. And I want to let you guys know that during this dark time, there is hope. What ended up happening is I ended up making this documentary and I ended up sharing it at about 60 schools. We built a whole program. And we have a whole team now. We have Emily, who's an absolute genius here. She's on the line right now. She's hiding herself. You'll see her in about a second because Zoom is interesting, but you'll see her in about a second. And, we built this program where we go into schools and we just try to do what we can to work with you guys and provide hope to as many people as we can. So I want to let you guys know during this tough time, it's not easy. I'm so used to being in schools. I'm so used to talking to students. I'm so used to connecting with people at that deeper level. And now we're connecting over a Zoom call. And yeah, it might feel a little weird, but I'd rather be connecting over a Zoom call than not connecting at all. And a lot of things that I've been doing is I've been working out more. I've been doing these funny home workouts where I've actually been dancing, like kind of like a little mix of dancing and push-ups. And it's been getting my heart rate up and it's been breaking up my days and it's been making me feel better about myself, right? And I've also been doing things like meditation, which I've never done before. So as dark as these times are, I'm finding a bit of light and I'm learning how to grow and we're still connecting. So yeah, that's just a little bit about myself. I don't want to talk for too long because, I want to get to know you guys more, but I wanted to give you a little bit of backstory of who I am, why I'm so passionate about helping you guys, and why our foundation is so passionate. And we have incredible people around us. We're always here for you. And we have an amazing human, Emily over here, who's going to talk to you guys a little bit about what she's doing and a little bit about some resources.
Hey guys, so thank you for the introduction, John. I'm Emily, and I do a lot of the programming work that the foundation does. So right now, I am trying to keep in touch with friends and family on things like Zoom, email, text, and traditional phone call, because I know it's really tough for a lot of you right now in actually dealing with being physically isolated from other people, especially those of you that are surrounded by other people, typically at college or high school. So I also put together a little resource sheet that we shared to our social media, and that Katie and some of the Colgate staff will be sending out as well. So there's some information on that sheet about coronavirus. We use a lot of the resources from CDC and the World Health Organization. And then there's also some information about coronavirus and mental health, how to take care of your mental health during the coronavirus outbreak. And then we also have some other support, for example, non-emergency support, the NAMI National Warm Line. If you are not in extreme emergency distress, but you still want a little extra emotional support, those numbers are going to be on that resource sheet, as well as the crisis hotlines. And the last thing I wanted to talk a little bit about is some of the digital mental health applications that are available. And there's a lot of different mental health applications out there, but I just pulled a couple that are really popular right now. So one is called Sanvello. It gives tips for dealing with stress, anxiety, and depression. And right now, during the coronavirus outbreak, they are offering free premium access. So you can actually use this for free right now. Then there's also an app called Headspace. John was talking about doing meditation to relieve stress during this time. That's a really good meditation and mindfulness app. There's a Porchlight app, which is basically a social media app for mental health. You can virtually check in with your friends and see how they're doing on that. And there's an online community called Big White Wall. So this actually is 24/7, and there are clinicians on there all the time as well. So if you'd like to talk to a mental health professional, or just to friends, it's basically just an online community that can help support mental health and promote mental health online. We can also send out a couple of mental health support social media pages. Our social media intern, Kristen, was really great about getting a variety of resources on Instagram, some that are specifically for coping with mental illness, and some other ones that are general support, maybe for friends or family members of those that have been diagnosed with mental illnesses, and also some specifically for domestic violence. So we'll be getting those resources to you, and hopefully all of you are staying safe and healthy and promoting public health by abiding by the appropriate social distancing guidelines the CDC is putting out.
Yeah, that's awesome, Emily. And I think, like Emily was talking about, there's a lot of different resources, right? And what works for one person might not work for someone else. So I think what's important during this time too is that we be there for each other, right? And now we want to give you a little bit of a call to action, right? First of all, I want to let you guys know that between the Shaw Wellness Center, between the Counseling Center, between groups on campus such as Active Minds, there's a support system for you guys. And some of you might have used it before, some of you might be just starting to use it, but let's activate each other, right? Now, during a time where we might feel a little bit hopeless, we might feel a little bit a little bit less, a little bit less empowered than we usually do. One of our goals is to help you feel empowered and give you a platform to be yourself. Talk about human connection, talk about friendships, talk about things that you're doing that just relieve stress, that relieve anxiety, that let you have fun during this time. Because to be quite frank, right, it's a little different, but that doesn't mean that we can't develop new things to stay connected and do things that make us happy. And the more that we share that with each other, we could use this as an opportunity to really pick each other up and to really learn that, hey, we're a lot stronger than we initially imagined. So one thing that we want to do is any student out there, right? First of all, I want to let you know how much we honestly care about you, and how much we're there for you. So if you ever want to reach out to us, we are more than happy to talk. And we're going to be doing so many little activities where we're actually giving people a platform to do things that relieve their anxiety during this time. Like yesterday, we actually had someone do a meditation class. Today, someone's doing a reading from a book that they wrote. Tomorrow, I got my friend doing a full DJ set for 10 minutes. So it's a lot of different things, I think, that people can do to feel empowered and to share along. So let's do what we can to connect digitally. And we want to hear from you. We want to be there for you in any way that we can. And, the more that we're able to share and the more that we're able to learn from you, I think we can learn from each other and continue to pick each other up during these darker times. Trying to see the light is such an important thing. And I want to let you know you're not alone. We're here for you. And honestly, we can't wait to hear from you. So thanks again to everyone for listening. Looking forward to hearing more from you and looking forward to sharing more with you guys. So stay legendary, everyone. And we'll talk very soon.